Hey guys, I'm going to show you my method that seems to be pretty efficient for burning tree stumps. You can burn tree stumps as small as you want to, I burn a tree stump as wide as 2 feet in diameter. Very simple method. This is going to be my tree stump because I've already burned everything that I have. I have a few tools that I've purchased, and there is a small investment, but you're going to be able to use it for a long time. And some stuff you may have laying around. Charcoal is my primary method of burning tree stumps for 2 reasons. I don't want to take the time to look for branches and twigs and leaves to throw into the stainless steel or the sheet metal ductwork that I like to use to burn stumps. I prefer to use charcoal. It burns hotter, it's inexpensive, and it conforms to the tree stump better than if you were throwing random pieces of wood in there. First thing I'll do is use what they call, it's a Weber chimney starter. This is awesome for grilling. If you guys like to use charcoal, any kind of briquettes. What you do is I use 3 pieces of newspaper, put in the bottom here, throw your charcoal on top, light it in these air openings. I usually light it in a couple spots. In a few seconds you'll see a lot of smoke. In about 5 minutes you'll have a very hot fire. You'll see the smoke come out. When you see a constant flame here, just take a look inside. You'll see the charcoal burning, and you know it's ready to be used in your grill or for use in my method of burning tree stumps. So we'll say you have a 6-inch tree stump. I'll cut it down to about 6 inches, and I'll run my chainsaw this way and this way, kind of making an X. The reason I do that is I'm creating more surface area, and I'm creating a spot for some of the charcoal that's disintegrating to fall actually in between the 4 separate pieces you're going to end up cutting. So what you do here, charcoal in here, newspaper here, light it. When it's nice and hot, take your sheet metal. This is HVAC ductwork. You can get it at any of the big box home improvement stores. But like I said, this is a 10-inch. This works great. The elbow, you're able to turn to an almost 90-degree angle just in case it starts to rain. I like giving the rain a little less area to put my fire out, if that's the case. What you do is you're going to put this over the tree stump. This is nice and hot. Pour it in there. Take a peek around, make sure the charcoal is really covering the tree stump. I have these things called cowboy tongs that I bought from Walmart. These are $7-8 bucks. They're great to have if you're doing any barbecuing at all, besides using it to burn tree stumps. You know, it has the coil metal here to dissipate the heat so you don't burn your hands. But you know, every once in a while I'll take a look and I'll move some of the charcoal around. But once you do this simple method here, 7-8 hours, there's really nothing you need to do besides checking the surrounding area to make sure the heat or some of the flame hasn't come out to cause a fire. Sometimes what I'll do is, if there's not, I don't like putting air holes in anything that I used to burn with, because now you're creating more surface area. Just another spot for, if you're using a steel drum, for it to rust, for the heat to get in there and the flames to get in there and really open it up, and your the things that you've purchased or invested in won't last as long. So what I'll do sometimes, I'll take a twig or a piece of charcoal and I'll set it underneath here so it's actually raised a little to let some of the air in. When it gets hot enough and everything's set to go, as it burns the charcoal or the branch or twig or whatever you use, it'll eventually drop it, and there'll be plenty of air to get in there to keep everything burning. But 7-8 hours, you'll have no tree stump. It'll be a nice pile of ash. And, for a size up to, say this is a 10-inch, you can buy, I believe you can buy up to a 14-inch, but this is a 10-inch, so anything 9 inches or smaller. But if you get a 14, just give it a little room where the charcoal can actually fall to the sides of it. For bigger tree stumps, and I'll talk about it a little more in depth in a second, but steel barrel with the bottom cut out. This is great for burning trash or any larger stumps in here. Same method. And you want to put 2 of these in there. I'll do the same thing, but this is steel drum that's completely hollow, so you're able to pick it up, move from tree stump to tree stump. This is my method for a larger tree stump. This is where I use a steel barrel, and I won't use my sheet metal ductwork. But how I usually start the larger tree stumps, and you'll hear it a lot, is that you should drill some 1 inch by, I believe, 8 to 12 inch holes. I use a spade bit when I do this. You got to make sure you remember when you're drilling these holes, make sure you pull that spade bit out every once in a while, because if you get it in there and not pull it out, it's going to be stuck in there. I put crosshatch chainsaw notches in it to show you a different method that I also use. I actually prefer that method, but I want to put the holes in there for you guys to see. But if you run the crosshatch across with the chainsaw deep enough, run 4 or 5 lengths across, but I do not cut all the way to the perimeter. All right, so what I do here, I'll set it up where it's deep enough in the middle, and I'll take kerosene or diesel. Kerosene burns a little hotter. It's a little more expensive, but it's worth it in the end. I will pour the kerosene the day that I cut it, and I'll continue to check it every day, but keep it covered, but check it every day, and whenever it seems to have absorbed into the wood, I'll add some more kerosene. I've also used Epsom salt. I like using Epsom salt because it's better for the environment. It's better for your soil. Instead of using, I think it's potassium nitrate or anything kind of Roundup people pour in there, but I like Epsom salt. I'll even put Epsom salt into the holes or into the hatches, and I'll saturate it with kerosene, not to overflow it. That way, the kerosene's soaking into the wood, and the Epsom salt's drying it out. I'll let this sit for 6 weeks if I'm not in a hurry. I use a heavy-duty industrial strength or contractor garbage bags, and I cut them to the size, and I'll take one of those staple guns and just staple it on there if I'm not going to be checking it for a while. Alright, so if I wait 6 weeks and I'm continuously pouring kerosene in there, if you light this thing, it'll burn itself underneath in the ground. But what I'll do before then, I'll take my chainsaw and finish these hatches all the way down. So when this thing's on fire, I'll even put my 55 barrel drum on top, cut it all the way down to allow the air to get in there to keep the fire going. If I let this sit and not pay attention, it'll be a mini inferno. So that's a great way to burn the tree stump with kerosene or diesel. I prefer kerosene, like I said, because it burns a little hotter. It is a little bit more expensive, but well worth it with that tree stump.